Well, Dimitrious, good to have you back on the show, man.
Well, thank you for having me, sir.
Well, we're there again with the Beat Blue show, and we're really wondering how things are. One of the things I love to ask ex-OSU players is, what was it like? What was game day like at Michigan when you played for Ohio State?
Well, as you know, 93 through 97, we didn't have a whole lot of luck. We're undefeated 3 of my 4 years and lost to Michigan the last game of the season. And, I like to say that is because one thing that I didn't understand is we were 10-0, and all of a sudden we get to the Michigan game and the coaches would change what we were doing. And, I think that was kind of confusing to a lot of the players. And I think that added to a lot of some of the stress, some of maybe the emotional anxiety that players got to go into the game, because we're changing and we're successful doing this. So we never understood that. And so I didn't have much luck. I think we were 1-3 my time there. It was, I was there with Cooper, but it was always an exciting time. But I think for me, it was always, why are we changing what we're doing when we're undefeated?
Well, let's talk about today, because, we have a lot of people that say Ohio State doesn't look great. I mean, there's a lot of things that we're hearing out there. What's your take?
Well, something's happened. We don't look like we're having fun playing football anymore. The first 3-4 games, fun. People were jumping around. It seemed like everybody was excited. And then all of a sudden you get to Purdue and then we're emotionless. And it almost seemed like we had given up towards the end of the game. I mean, they had 2 rushes right up the middle, untouched for about 60 yards. And that was kind of confusing. And so, then we went into the bye week and I thought, okay, maybe we'll pull this together and maybe we'll figure out, what happened there. And then in the next game against Nebraska, we did the same thing. We didn't look very impressive at the time, and Nebraska has some talent. They were a 2-6 team at the time, and I think their last victory was over Bethune-Cookman, so I wasn't expecting them to come in and give us quite the challenge they did. Well, they did, and then we brought Brendan White in the game, and Brendan White came in and gave us an emotional lift, and it looked like he was making some plays, and I'm hoping, going into this week that some of that will rub off on some of the defense, because the defense was giving up big plays all year, and that was one of our biggest problems. It wasn't like teams were just beating us. We would give up the big plays all the time. This last game that we played, we did not give up the big play against Michigan State. It was an ugly win, but needless to say, it was a win. Our punter, Chrisman, came through huge in that game for us and kept them pent up against the end zone inside the 10-yard, inside the 5-yard line most of the game, so they really couldn't do much. We finally got a rusher that rushed over 100 yards. Mike Weber put up 100 yards, but yet still our rushing average is 2.7 yards per game for the season, and that's just weird for Ohio State. So going into the Michigan game, Michigan is on the uptick, emotionally, talent-wise, and I think they play very well as a team, as a football team. They're playing really good, sound football. And one of the things I think our advantage is our talent. And I always say this, we're a very talented football team. We're just not a good football team yet. And a lot of people don't understand when I say that. And when I say that, I mean, we drop a lot of balls, a lot of missed tackles throughout the season, a lot of blown assignments, giving up big plays, offensive line, not blocking for the run game, doing pretty well for the pass game, but there's just a lot of fundamental stuff that we were missing. So coming into the Michigan game, leaving the Michigan State game, going into the Michigan game, hopefully our running game this week against Maryland stays where it was last week. We continue to pass the ball. The passing game's kind of come down a little bit. It's not high flying like it was early in the season, so hopefully we pick that back up. If we do everything we know we can do and the talent that we have, we can pull the game off. But I'll say this also, with where Michigan is, we can also lose this game.
Yeah. Well, what's your prediction? What does Dimitrious Stanley think?
This is a tough one for me because I don't ever want to put us in a position of losing to Michigan. And the advantages I give us is our talent across the board. I think man-to-man, we're more talented. I think Michigan is a good football team, not quite as talented as we are, but they're playing better as a football team. And we're at home. We have the best fans in college football. It's a struggle for me because, if you look at where we've come to where we are today and to where Michigan is, a lot of people would give Michigan the advantage. But, you know, the one thing I've learned, because the years that we played, Michigan shouldn't have been on the field with us. But something happened in these games, and players played differently. They come with everything they have. But we're at home, and I want Ohio State to win, so I got us by a touchdown.
About one touch.
By a touchdown.
Well, I guess the answer is going to be there in a couple weeks for us.
Yes, sir.
Thanks so much, Dimitrious. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you.